Hello there. Hi, I'm Linda K. Gifford. Linda K. Gifford, it's been a fighting kind of week, hasn't it? I am a life coach, author of Self Talk My Continuing Efforts to Survive Childhood Sexual Assault, of which there were 7 years for me of grooming into assault. And please do call it assault, not abuse, because when people are raped, I believe it deserves the title assault. So today we are talking about how back to it's been a fighting kind of week. So I have like 5 points to make that are it's almost entirely a double down lesson. And those of you who do this with me know that I will double down on things that someone says to me, conversations I have regarding any of this with anybody. So um, I posited the Sunday before last and continued on last week with the concept that you need to learn how to separate your experience of God from your experience of your religion. Your religion is a combination of loving kindness and goodness and the things that we all invented a God for or tapped into God or however you view it. You know, I view it as a tool. You can view it as an entity, whatever. You do you. That's kind of the point. Everyone should be able to do themselves. That's another point I make a lot, but not the one I was going for today. But we will get more into self-pleasuring and orgasm actually later in this show because it is very important. Selfish sex is the key to selfless love. And that is a fact. That is a fact. And that's why we're going to have like 3 different double downs that all revolve around that today. I'm going to prove to you that being selfish in self and gratification with your partner or partner you're considering, someone you're considering, the person you are now involved with or going to be in a sexual situation with. That's who I'm talking about. I recommend you keep it to one at a time at least, and preferably, I think finding a real bond. People think it's so rare, and it was for me. I've been married and divorced 3 times, and I have it now. And what I've learned is there are reasons why I got it wrong before. It wasn't luck and not luck. It was me never, ever putting myself first. It was me always in the bedroom. And many women, most women in the world, even, I will definitely say, uh, are so used to catering to men, pleasing men, that to most of the world, the idea of being self satisfied in any part of your life, much less in anything outside of motherhood. You're supposed to be happy to be a mother. He'll give you a child like it's a gift, right? He gets to fuck you. You get the child. Thanks for the gift of a child. We need to change the language of society so that we don't say dumbass things like that. And so that we don't make dumbass expectations of people. Uh, so yeah, I've got like 3 different ways I want to go with this. So selfish leads to selfless in the same way that I want people to be nice to me, so I will be nice to them. I want people, and if someone is nice to me, I will be nicer to them. If someone slaps me in the face, I'm less likely to approach them in a positive manner after that, which I'd also like to point out is face assault. So why the hell do we call childhood sexual assault sexual abuse? This is another double down. I got in a fight with someone this week on, not a fight, just someone's like, people don't tell people what to call it. We can call it what we want. It's like, okay, you do that. Of course you call it what you want. That's your business and you're right. And I'm not here to tell you you can't call it what you want. I'm just suggesting that everybody realize that assault is assault, and that I don't know what could be more assaulting, a more assaulting kind of assault than putting your penis in somebody else's body against their will. That is why I'm for the death penalty for rapists. First shot, first time. Absolutely. That's another double down. It's going to be a lot of double downs today because I got a lot of flack for my opinions last week. But when you look at the bigger picture, that's proving my point. You're proving my point. The language of society sets us up to not care about our own pleasure, to not realize our own worth, to be glad to be traded, bought, sold, to be grateful for what we get. That's why an entire part of my trigger management guide, an acronym SPADES, the A is ask for what you want. Don't just take what's given. Because if you don't, and see how this all ties back. I know I'm sound scattered, but I've got like a circle here with twing, 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 and they all kind of overlap. So it goes straight back to having to be selfish to be selfless. If you are trying to make somebody else happy, but you yourself truly are not, even if you're just pacified, even if you're indifferent, if you're not achieving levels, and I'm talking not just mental, but it starts mental. Don't ever go to a sexual relationship unless you already have a mental relationship. That's my 100% advice. I also say you do you, whatever. There are people in different lifestyles where that's not what they want to do. Okay. But for the people I work with and talk to, generally speaking, we have spent enough of our lives being somebody else's fucking toy. And it involving an assault on our entire mind and body, and taught us to disassociate, change the way our brains developed versus other people that were not assaulted routinely in their childhoods, to where we don't grow the same number of connections between the part of your brain that stores trauma and the part that files it away neatly in a way that you can understand. So there's lifelong consequences to the fucked up language of society. I'm going to edit that to the messed up language of society. It just has to stop. So another part of that circle on circle on circle that all goes around selfless and selfish, selfish leading to selfless. I'm going to double down again. And correct, not correct, but add. I said it before, but I'm going to say it again. I am not speaking about Muslims in general. I am not singling out Islam. In fact, I know more progressive Muslims in America than I do progressive Christians, as far as understanding the nature of a woman's pleasure and the importance of that, the importance of satisfaction. We don't even teach that. Who teaches their daughters that their sexual satisfaction is going to be super important throughout their entire lives? We go through this thing in society where we accept like teenage exploration, and this pisses me off too. I don't think that's normal and natural. I think that is a product of a lack of information, because if teenagers got a whole lot more information about their entire well-being and how the physical, including orgasmic ability, fits with the mental and having a life fit and a connection with another human being, if those things were taught at a young age, then I don't think so many teenagers would end up touchy-feely, pregnant, married to somebody that they don't want to be married to, stuck by a religious belief into thinking that this is what they have to do. And now my whole life is just, I'm a mother. And it's like, you know what? I love being a mother. It is the greatest thing in the world. I have 3 boys I would take bullets for, and other people's children, I would do the same. But apples and oranges. Apples and oranges. That doesn't mean I shouldn't have sexual satisfaction. That doesn't mean I shouldn't make equal pay to a man. That doesn't mean I shouldn't be able to choose my husband. And I'm going to throw that in there too for any, back to the top of this section, the not singling out Islam and Muslims. I'm saying people who choose their daughters' husbands, and that happens in America too. Look at the purity balls. That's disgusting. And we're going to talk about that too. Let's throw that in there. I want you to tell me, message me where and when purity balls are. We are going to disrupt purity balls. You are going to disrupt purity balls. This is disgusting. Disgusting. Oh, rich Christian men, and not even rich, just making their daughters pledge their vaginas. Who's going to, daddy has to approve of your husband. And I'm going to be a virgin until I'm married. It's like, and then they exchange rings. They take pictures, like wedding pictures, kissy face ones too. Look at my Facebook page. It's disgusting. On the Self Talk with Linda K. Gifford page, because that's the name of my book. I'm trying to change the name of my Facebook page to the same as this, but they haven't let me yet. But purity balls are disgusting. This idea that your dad is involved in what happens to your vagina and what you're going to do with it for the rest of your life, and you not being given the education to understand that what goes in and out of your vagina literally is the key to your sexual experience if you're heterosexual. This applies to any gender. You might have to morph the words a little bit, but the the key is choice. The key is choice. And sexuality is insinuated in paradoxical advertising and messaging that makes even little girls feel that they should have breasts and wear high heels and makeup, and that they should be wanted sexually even before they know what that is. I mean, this is a paradox society sets up. Be a good girl, be somebody wants to fuck. How are we supposed to function like that? How are we supposed to be healthy in a society where that is what we're teaching? So I'm not the gross one. I'm not the whore. I'm the one saying I would not condemn my daughter or son to a life of having sex with someone if that's what the religion says or whatever. You got to stay married, whatever. I would not condemn them to that. Take it to the bedroom before you take it down the aisle. That's what I say. And you don't take anything down the aisle. Speaking of language of society, because I catch myself doing things all the time too that like that. Nobody takes anyone. If you are in a relationship that is selfish enough that you want to be there, this is the only person you want to be with. You like to talk to them. You like to be with them. You like the smell of them. You like their body. You feel more whole when their bodies combined with yours. That is what you're going for. And the path there isn't a whole bunch of trial and error, but it's also not the luck of the draw. There's middle ground. That's all I'm saying. There's a middle ground. So you have to separate the part of your religion that is culture from the part of your religion that is your experience of God and love and kindness and goodness in the world. And your experience of God and love and kindness and goodness in the world needs to include your own sexual satisfaction and happiness. Why? Because it is so freaking amazing that I am in shock. I'm just going to, we get, I talk with people very intensely about sex. I'm also, I would say I'm a life coach, but a whole lot of life coaching is sex therapy. And as someone who spent 3 marriages trying to make other people happy without ever giving consideration to myself, and turning into a person who drives for my own orgasm, and that drives my partner insanely happy too. And I realized, wow, there are heights of combined joy that 2 humans, whatever your gender identities are, can achieve if they want to be there. And so I look around the world, for me, this is a huge revelation. Maybe if I'd grown up without being sexually assaulted for years and raped by multiple people, I was shared with a cousin. I was, it was a horrifying. So to me, all of these things are like huge things that I've learned, and it's just changed my life. So I've lived that life of being moderately happy, being somewhat happy, trying to make other people happy. And the common thread I see to why it never worked was because it was always me trying to make me fit somebody else's world. And in sex, it was me trying to get them to achieve an orgasm. It never occurred to me, and evidently not to the for several men, that my achieving an orgasm should be their goal too, that it should be a mutual thing. Um, so to not just completely slam my three exes, I know many of you know them, I take credit for the fact that I have incredible dissociative powers. Dissociative, some people say, I prefer the term disassociative. Um, so I must factor in that I didn't know then what I know now, and maybe they were, well, maybe I should have been putting. If I had been taught like I want to teach you, and to teach your children and society as a whole, if I had been taught those things, then I think I could have been in this position the first time around, where I would have respected my body and not flaunted, not tried to fit somebody else, not try to meet impossible standards, not accept a virgin marriage. Not that I did, I couldn't, but that's the other thing, this whole you have to be a virgin thing. Those of us who were raped, evidently we get an exclusionary clause, but guess what? We've already been taught we're ruined. So no amount of, oh, it's okay because it was rape matters to us. We still feel dirty and ruined because of the language you're teaching. You're not ruined if a penis went in your body unwillingly. And that goes for men too. There are so many men, adults also coming forward with the fact that they have been raped as children and adults. And we all understand that, too many of us at least understand that kind of violation, I don't even know what to say with it. Just, I'll be damned if I'm not going to be fulfilled. I will have a good sex life, and I do, a great one, but it didn't happen until I made the decision to be myself, till I made the decision to have no expectations, only standards, to make a decision that when my standards weren't met, to walk away. There's seldom been a second date, let's just say, over the years, the 14 years I spent not in a relationship. Until now. I will never again make somebody else more important than me. And that doesn't make me selfish, except in the best of ways. That makes me honest. Maybe we should just call it honesty. Selfish, like we associate it with like, I'm going to take 2 cookies and you just get 1, or I'm going, it's got all these negative connotations. But being for the self means also advocating for yourself. It means putting your needs first and realizing that if you put your needs first, then you can fully give to another person. If you're in a situation where someone has to be put over you, then there's an imbalance there already. Relationships should be balanced. This is why I always tell women and men, never, ever be unable to support yourself. I will maintain a much lower lifestyle than I used to, as far as other people's. I don't have the big Victorian house in the historical district like I used to and all that. I keep a little apartment. I move into a little house next month. I keep my expenses to where I can afford them, because if someone has control over you financially, they have emotional control over you too, whether you know it or not. You cannot be honest and make honest decisions. To me, it is important to know that my partner, even we don't live together, but that's just a matter of work and kids. When we do, that they come home to me every night and I come home to them every night, because that's where we choose to be. And if somebody's always questioning whether or not, even if you don't feel that way, the person that you're dependent on might feel that way. They might feel like, well, she's dependent on me, I have to do this. Do you want that? A lot of women I talk to actually do, and men. They want to trap somebody. That's a narcissist. That's a whole other thing. We've talked about it and we will talk about it more, definitely. But I think I've made the lesson today over and over and over again. Let me consult my notes and see if I have left anything out that I kind of wanted to touch on today. Um, just doubling down back to the top about arranged marriages and daddies having anything to do with your vagina. If your dad is suggesting that you listen to him about anything that has to do with your vagina, and that includes who you're going to let in it, then he's a sicko and you tell him so and you go get a counselor for him or you leave home or I don't know, you do something. But you don't listen and you don't send me purity ball stuff, people. I want to know where purity balls are so I can arrange people to go disrupt them legally, not violently, but to disrupt them and protest. We just are going to make peaceful protests, loud ones, to let these girls know that we know their daddies are sick, sick, sickos. Let's see. Sunday school this week. Evidently, I need to double down on Civil War and the fact that we are in a Civil War now. We are in a Civil War. If you don't see that, look around. We are in a Civil War now between, I mean, we're not shooting so much yet, kind of a little bit, quite a bit actually. But the Civil War is between the educated and the ignorant. Religion can exist for the educated who are not ignorant too, as long as you're able to examine life, realize that science is not a fact, but a uh, science is a tool, a way to figure stuff out. And so when the science changes, science never actually changed. Actually, we just found out more stuff. So when you find out more, that's why it's called the scientific process. So this whole deal, oh, well, he said, Fauci said this, and now it's this, and whatever, and we can't trust him. It's like, come on, people. I have to throw in there, I just got out of a colonoscopy yesterday. It wasn't fun. I had a 100-degree fever last night, so I'm pretty sure I'm rocking the Delta because I went for the. I did it. I went to unmasked to a bar in Kansas City a week ago Friday, like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks ago. And crowded circumstances, turned out there were a whole bunch of Republicans at this gig that had never been vaccinated and weren't masked. And Delta was raging in Missouri. So on the way home from Kansas City, then on Tuesday, I went to the Foo Fighters concert where a friend of mine got us a private patio. Like we were gifted a private patio. Thank you, Jim Gorda Delaney, for taking me along and letting me turn the private patio at the Foo Fighters in the middle of tens of thousands of people, also unmasked, but probably mostly vaccinated. This amazing patio. I should upload a picture of that, except I'm pretty wasted. I'm like, I love you all. And I did. I loved everyone in that moment. Nothing like a private patio, Foo Fighters, and a bottle of Dewar's. Unless you're an alcoholic, in which case you don't need alcohol to have fun. But anyway, we're going to talk Sunday about civil war that is here, the one that is here. And it's a war of words, and it's a war of ignorance, and I just encourage you to look back and think about all the scientists that were, right, that ended up dead before they figured out holistically that they were right. Might perhaps this not be not the end of the world as God is planning it, but maybe actually we're screwing it up and we could stop that. I encourage you to think that way, because if you don't, then we have a civil war and we're going to stop you, those of us who are educated, because this is the only planet I know I have to live on. And if I have to get militant someday to do it, I will. I don't want to. I want a peaceful life. So get your shit together, everybody. All right? I don't want to go back in. I don't want another variant to almost kill me. Almost got me last November with pneumonia. Then I got vaccinated. I'm waiting for a booster shot because I have an autoimmune disease called polyrheumaticomyalgia. Not life-threatening unless maybe a crazy, deadly pandemic keeps spreading variants because those who vaccinate their kids against absolutely everything else and accept every other kind of medicine intervention, medical intervention for their hearts, for their blood pressure, for their cancer treatments, whatever. Now they've decided it's in God's hands. Come on. Get your shit together. I say again. So, this next week, lessons, we've been working our way. We actually just worked our way all the way through spades at the rate of 2 letters a week. So the first of the spades and acronym, this is my trigger management guide coming out called How to Get from Trigger to Happy. And I'm going to give it to anyone who becomes a subscriber to the Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund at sweetsurvivor.com. which right now I am sponsoring on my store, feelgoodfairtrade.com, which is a fair trade store. We just had our 4th birthday in June, although we're going to celebrate it on September 4th with the official launch of Sweet Survivor. At that time, merchandise will become available in all to provide rescue transportation to victims of trafficking and sexual assault. Get them out of trouble, get them somewhere safe. That's what we're doing. I'm also looking for like-minded individuals to work to sit on the board with me, to sit on the board instead of me, actually, since I founded it. It's not really cool. To work in the merchandising. I'd also have actual opportunities where I'm giving URLs, and these are the ones I'm going to give away. Share with you is a better way to put it. lovemygender.com, beesfeedus.com. Before, let me precurse. Each one of these is an Earth 2.0 fundraising family shop. I introduced each one as a collection on my store, feelgoodfairtrade.com. Now, each one is going to live as its own store under my umbrella, Earth 2.0 fundraising family of shops. All of these URLs are already purchased. The back end of it is something that I will set up and run for you. And ready to go now are lovemygender.com. We have supported the Human Rights Campaign, but of course, as part owner of this URL after this point, you will have a lot to say in what happens with it. I'm looking for people with passion, people with proven social media skills, people who understand Facebook and social advertising, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, this stuff. You're going to use your social media skills to run this company, and you're not going to get paid anything but a percentage. But that percentage is going to be you owning it on paper. You can. This is sky is the limit. I'm offering stores. I'm excited. This is my dream, and I can't do them all myself. I have. First, I thought I might. No. So beesfeedus.com has so far supported the Honeybee Conservancy. I already said Love My Gender Human Rights Campaign. Standwithgreta.com for Ocean Alliance, Ocean Conservancy. Leonardo DiCaprio, I believe, works in conjunction with Earth Alliance on ocean effects. There's Charity Water. There's a lot of, this is a big one. Standwithgreta.com. They all have the capability of going big, or I wouldn't have bought the URLs. Ruby's Bridge. I already sell many African artisans products on feelgoodfairtrade.com. Ruby's Bridge supports the NAACP. And each one of these, I would like to have logoed merchandise supporting them, as well as I work in fair trade, but I'm willing to listen to others' ideas. That's the idea. I'm looking for store owners to co-own with me. You do the front end, I'll do the back end. Sounds like we're still talking about sex, doesn't it? But we're not. I'm giving away stores. I need the help. Earth 2.0. You've heard of 1% for the planet. The requirement for Earth 2.0 is 3% for the planet. Whoever, you can make up your own URLs and open your own store and do your own back end and make all the money yourself pretty much. I will just have to charge you to run it, to connect it, keep it all connected. Essentially, I'm making an Etsy. I've made an Etsy for fair trade, and for not just fair trade, we'll see how it goes, but for fundraising, for progressive charitable fundraising. No haters allowed. And you know why? Because I own it and I can do that. So someone said, well, you have to let other people. I'm like, no, I don't actually. So there's that. Um, on that note, this week, our spades, in brief, here are the lessons. Go back over the last 3 weeks and you'll have all the lessons every Tuesday, Thursday. I think I had an alternate Monday there because I was traveling. That was Foo Fighters Day. Um, S, the shame is not yours. We do lessons in how to separate yourself from the shame and guilt that you carry. And you may not know you carry it, but when we get to talking, you're going to find out you probably do. And it's rearing its ugly head in ways that are messing up your life, not just in the bedroom, but in the boardroom or whatever other rooms you go into. So we're going to work on that. Separate the past from the present is the P in spades. And this is really, actually, disassociation comes into many of these. Separating the past from the present, we do very, very specific exercises. This is probably the hardest thing to do. This is the biggest part of the trigger manual, how to get from trigger to happy. It's something you will do every single day from now on. And that's not overwhelming. It's like, consider that you just got the lip balm for your chapped lips or the Advil for your backache or whatever. These techniques are going to just like smooth over these parts of your life that are hard. Separating the past from the present. And we also get intensely, if you want one-on-one coaching, I'll be happy to help you in a more specific sexual sense, because in the bedroom is the hardest place for many people to fully express themselves and relax. And that's why today I entitled this Selfish Sex is the Key to Selflessness, because when you learn to give freely, giving freely is getting what you want. Experiencing joy and sexual fulfillment and satisfaction on an emotional and a physical level combined takes you to a different level that then your loved one experiences too. But they're not going to experience it if you don't do that and get there. So it's just being yourself, being your best self. Be best, someone once said. I'm going to hurt myself after that one. Okay. I think I've got a lesson in how to not hurt yourself too. Go watch my one on suicide. Actually, that's serious. I do recommend you watch my video on suicide, because I talk to all too many people who want to end it because they're so unfulfilled in life. They're so unhappy, and they kick their own asses and think that it's their fault and they can never make anyone happy. And it's like, it just breaks my heart. And as someone who tried to kill herself and came pretty damn close twice, I have made an entire video, and it's pretty intense. Buckle up. But I think it's important. I do. We will talk more about that later. So the A in spades, ask for what you want. Don't just take what's given. Again, this is like all what we're talking about today. We talked about it last week too, last Tuesday. Asking for what you want, being selfish is the way to truly give back, because then your best self is available, not only to your partner, but to your mother and the world and your dog and your kids and whatever. If you're happy, maybe you will not even forget to water the plants. It might even be better for them. Selfishness is selflessness, unless you're taking something from someone else. Take for yourself, but not from others. When you take for yourself, you can give to others. It's kind of what my whole business is about. I'm never going to get rich because I give it all away. But I will keep a roof over my head and be grateful and happy and joyful. I will do that. You can do that too. Sunday school. We're moving everything to 3:00. It's a general consensus. 3:00 is better. So I was doing 2. I was trying 6. I tried 5. We have settled 3:00 Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. And Sundays, we're going to kind of tie in all more what we're talking about in the lessons, but I really want to pull together history, society, sexuality over history, anthropology, cultural issues, spirit. You're in how it all works together. How we, having been through traumatic experiences, should now look at the world as a whole and say, I see what's wrong there that somebody else might not. I'm going to go fix that because I have unique knowledge in that area. Okay? Take your unique experience and instead of kicking your own ass with it, get out there and educate and advocate. And that is the E in spades. So I think we went through the whole acronym. Shame is not yours. Separate the past from the present. Ask for what you want. Don't just take what is given. Don't wait to feel okay to be okay. I think skip that. We talk about that a lot. Get out there and do stuff. You don't have time to feel sorry for yourself. You don't have time to relive the past. You will have CPTSD, and that is not feeling sorry for yourself. That is subconscious, unconscious. It just happens. We separate from that, and that is where we're going on Tuesday, this whole week. We'll touch on it Sunday, but we're starting back at the top of disassociation, how it happened, how it is a physical, measurable thing, especially if you were repeatedly traumatized as a child, that your brain literally grew differently. And I also want to touch Sunday specifically on children on the spectrum. I have autism. I have arguably Asperger's syndrome. America's dropped that term, but basically I'm a high-functioning autistic. I have a genius IQ, not bragging, just saying I do, always have. Just took a test less than 2 months ago. My pattern recognition is better than in the 95th percentile. So better than 94%, I suppose, of other humans tested. Autism lends one to not understanding social cues as well as other people. As I said before, I can talk all day long here on Facebook and help people or work with children or grownups. I have a lot of anxiety in social situations if I'm not speaking or singing or playing my flute. No problem in front of a crowd, but I would have a real hard time sitting at your dinner party and knowing how to act. So it factors in, and it came up because I'm in an Asperger group too, ever since finding out that I was like rated really highly on the Asperger chart. So I wanted to explain what I've learned about how autistic children are especially vulnerable and especially incapable of telling you what's going on. So we'll do all that next week. Please support sweetsurvivor.com. I'm Linda K. Gifford. The reason I capitalized survivor, by the way, is not a typo. It's because it means that much to me. There are victims with a little v. There are survivors. Sexual assault survivor. Capital S. I don't know if that's frontwards or backwards on your screen. Talk to you tomorrow. No, Sunday. Talk to you Sunday. Bye-bye. Support sweetsurvivor.com. Go start a subscription, please. Merchandise available September 4th.